Hello everyone, today we're talking with Braden Koop, who joined Remax Kelowna just 3 years ago and has already hit Platinum award level. And this was done, Braden, early in your third year. What can you kind of attribute that to?
I would say probably just like good habits and consistency would probably be one of the most important things.
A couple of things for you. What drew you to real estate?
Oh gosh, I would say I was attracted to the idea of being able to get kind of compensated for the amount of work that you put in. I actually came from trades, like kind of a 9-to-5 structure or whatever, and I did that for like a total of 6 years, and about partway through it I started feeling like I was outputting more than some of my colleagues or whatever, and getting paid less or equal to, and because that was more of like based on a seniority type of pay scale. And I just felt like there would be better options out there for me to maybe get paid on my output rather than my time. And it took me 3 years to kind of like grow myself and gain some confidence to finally make the jump into something, and real estate felt really natural because I got the support of a brokerage behind me and lots of colleagues and stuff like that. So it worked out really well. But yeah, that's kind of how that all started.
The learning curve. How do you describe the learning curve when you first jumped into the business?
Gosh, it's crazy. The learning curve is definitely something else. I came in with like really high expectations because I got into the industry like partway through 2022. But just like very uninformed in my like level of like all the optimism that I had. And it probably took like 3 months before I was doing it, and I'm like, holy cow, okay, like we got to have some structure and organization here. And that's when I found kind of like a program that I've started following because I had no other option. I'm just like, hey, you can't just get in here and wing it. Like, let's stick to a program and be consistent. And I just kind of blindly kind of followed that, and it started getting results. And then, yeah, you just kind of keep trucking along, basically. That's all you can do.
What was the program you followed?
It was the Buffini course that you guys had put on here at Remax. And it basically just like, there's so many different ways, and everyone's always telling you like, oh, do this, this is what worked for me, blah, blah, blah. I found with the Buffini program, same thing, it was really overwhelming. There was like all these different things and steps to follow. The one takeaway that I had from it was put 7 to 10 people into my database every single week. So that was my goal every single week, was that. And that was the one thing that I stuck to. The rest of it was kind of like whatever, I did as much as I could, but yeah.
With the Buffini, I noticed you also did a lot of door knocking and farming a specific area.
Yeah.
You've been doing that now for how long?
I'd say 2.5 years, two and a half years, yeah.
And how is that farm and that door knocking paying off now?
Good. That's so far right now, that's about my third of my business to date. The rest of it is like my sphere, so friends and family and referrals, kind of thing. So huge, because like I could be doing like fairly well with just my friends and family and referrals and stuff, but that extra work of the farm and the door knocking and like continuing to add people into my database has just kind of like been a really nice buffer to kind of set me up and put me in a good spot, especially for the first couple of years, because it takes a while for people to like have trust in what you're doing. Like I knew all these people from so long ago, and like, oh, he just switched into real estate, like he came from heating and air conditioning, like how is he going to handle the biggest transaction of my life? So I found it kind of took a while for those friends and family and referrals to start coming through, so I had to find other people who I didn't know from previous.
So Braden, tell me what did you do before? I mean, you told us you took the Buffini course, which we love the Buffini course. We think it sets people up for success for sure.
Yeah.
What else did you do that really helped you deal with clients and learn how to deal with clients? I know you came from an industry where you had some interactions with clients because you were in people's homes and things like that, repairing their homes. But how did you kind of try to up your game and up your skill set?
Yeah, I had zero sales experience from my past position because I was crawling around in like commercial buildings mostly by myself and stuff like that. I had a little bit of contact with the customers, but not even close to the same. So for me, I started kind of going down, exploring every avenue of like outbound prospecting. Open houses was one of them. Middle of 2022, kind of when I was getting started, was fairly slow. I would get like maybe one or two, oftentimes getting skunked at my open houses. So that's only like a couple of opportunities to have a conversation with somebody about real estate and like kind of hone my skills in my like sales process and discovery and stuff like that. And so that was one of the other things that pushed me towards door knocking or something. Could have been anything, you know, like online leads, or I literally called numbers out of a phone book for like 10 hours one time and did a deal out of that. But it's just however you're having conversations. So I was like, I need to have control over how many conversations I'm having so that I can build like a kind of a question process, something that's comfortable and natural for me. And yeah, door knocking worked because I could talk to way more people. And then I was like, if nothing else, I'm having conversations with people about real estate and building that skill up because it's necessary in this business. Like it just is. Yeah.
For sure. And one of the things we talk a lot about is finding the things you like doing, right? And if open houses work for you, great. And if they don't do them. So what I always tell people is go figure out what is going to be in your area that you like and will become very good at it. And we kind of talk about the idea of finding, you know, I tell everyone, first and foremost, your sphere of influence. That has to be your number one thing that you tackle and do it very, very well.
For sure.
And then I always usually suggest finding one or two other things that you like doing and master those. And get good at it.
For sure. And like my first 2 years, I was like maybe 50-50 on where my income was coming from, like outbound prospecting, so like whatever, door knocking, open houses and stuff, versus sphere. And now that I'm in my third year, I've built up a lot more trust and reputation with the people that I know. Now I'm doing 2/3 of my business from my sphere and 1/3 from my outbound prospecting. So I'm starting to see those kind of numbers shift a little bit.
It's interesting. I've worked with lots of realtors over the years, and I've had people say to me, okay, we talk about their sales funnel, where their business is coming from. And nobody puts a lot of stock into their sphere of influence. And I remember one agent coming back, 3 or 4 months later, and we said, okay, where'd your business come from? And he goes, well, amazingly enough, I got 5 out of my sphere of influence, and that he had not even factored any in his sales funnel. And that's really a key point of why the Buffini works so well, is following those ideas, right?
Yeah, and another important thing too, back to the Buffini thing, is like getting those touches on people. So like build out a process, and like the sphere is like an easy one to maintain. Like if you're doing outbound prospecting, that takes way more time and money, but like for your sphere, like it doesn't take a whole lot, you know what I mean? Like you're making sure you're having like I do a monthly newsletter, a direct copy, like a mail out version, and then I do one that's an email, and those are just about completely hands off. Like I come up with the content for the email. And then, the odd note or whatever, you're like interacting on social media. So it's a lot easier. It doesn't take up as much time. So it's more powerful.
Definitely. Yeah. And you'll see that with a lot of the top agents. That is where most of their business comes from. Yeah. Right. I mean, it's kind of, I liken it a little bit to the cell companies that will bend over backwards to try to get a new client and don't look after their old clients. And looking after your old clients keeps that stability going for you, right?
Totally.
And that's what I found. Once you get your sphere of influence working well, it levels out the peaks and valleys of the real estate business, right?
That's been the biggest change this year, is that more like even flow of like consistency in deals. Because before it was like you have a fantastic month and then it's like, okay, back to hustling and door knocking and like putting people in the pipeline. But with the sphere, you'll get a message like, hey, let's go look at this or whatever, like out of the blue, and just kind of keeps you going.
For sure. Now, you mentioned starting in 2022 and the market was starting to tail off, and we've been through a challenging market for 2022, 2023, 2024, and partway into 2025. You've upped your game every year, right? Your commissions have increased, your amount of sales have increased every year in a market where lots of agents sit here and go, oh, the market's horrible, there's no business and stuff like that. I notice you're always in the office. You're very disciplined in what you do. What coming to the office really does for you, from trying to work at home or, not interacting with other agents?
I would say you got to find that zone and like that drive from somewhere, like put the blinders on, and because the consistency is what's going to like be a total game changer. So put the blinders on and just go to work and actually keep track of what you're doing so that you know that you're being productive, and like try to continue to push those numbers. Like if you're doing 7 people into the database a week, which is not that many, like that's super easy to do. I could do that in one day, no problem. Just go and door knock for a couple of hours. But like when I'm slower, I might try to get 14 people into the database or something like that, right? So, and then have your follow-up systems after that and your nurture. But like one thing is just burn your bridges. Like if you're getting into something and you're gonna be betting on yourself and working for yourself, burn your bridges and just focus on that 100% and like commit like financially and like everything. Just create your environment to like just help you do that and only that. So yeah, so for me, I come into the office every day because I can focus and just get stuff done. Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting with offices. You know, we see our top agents are to the Tuesday meetings. The top agents are on tour. The top agents are in the office working. Most of our top agents all have offices here, and they're in here working.
Yeah.
And being around successful people breeds success, right?
Oh gosh, yeah. Yeah, that's why I wanted to come work at Remax too, right off the get-go. I knew it wasn't going to make the most sense as a newbie if I didn't hit certain numbers. But I knew that the people here were doing huge volume. So again, it's about your environment. So you're the average of the people you hang with. Yeah.
For sure. Awesome. Well, you know what, really, Braden, we really appreciate your time today, and thanks for answering a bunch of questions for us.
Yeah,
look forward to being part of your success moving forward.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, happy to be here, help, and looking forward to many more years of hanging out here and doing business. So.
Awesome. Yeah. So this is where we ask you guys to like and subscribe to the channel. Hopefully you enjoyed this. And you know what? If you've got any questions or things that you'd like to ask us, put them in the comments. We'll ask Braden any questions that you have for us and see if we can get you some answers on it. But he is a success story in our office, and love to have you part of our office. Thanks a lot.
Awesome. Thanks so much.